My name is Lizzie, and this is Lizzie's Literary Life, and today we are figuring out via a bracket what my worst book of 2023 was. So I just did this with my best books. I'm not sure which video is going to come out first, but probably the best books will come out first because I filmed it first. I'm going to do the same bracket that Ruby from Ruby Red made, but instead of narrowing down to the best book, we're narrowing down to the worst book. So I picked 12 of the worst books that I'd read this year. So I took my spreadsheet, I filtered it by 1, 1.5, and 2 stars. There were 15 of them, and then I took out some of the 2 stars that seemed higher to me. So we have 12 books on here. They're in kind of a random order. I don't really know what's paired up against what. And I'm going to record my screen. You're going to see me going through this bracket, and we're going to see what the worst one was. And I think I know what it's going to be, but some of the matchups along the way might be interesting. So, okay, we're going to start in the bottom left with Book Lovers by Emily Henry versus Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey. These are both books that are well loved, and I did not love them. They're both 2-star books. Emily Henry I have read before and not liked, and this was kind of a last strike for Emily Henry. It's a romance about, romance things. Leviathan Wakes is the first book in the Expanse series, and it's like a very well-loved epic sci-fi space opera. I'm going to go with the one that's worse. I'm going to go with Emily Henry. Why do I keep saying that instead of the title? Book Lovers. I'm going with Book Lovers because this was kind of like me giving Emily Henry a second chance and being like, yeah, no, I don't like her books. Whereas James S.A. Corey, I would continue the series because I think there's potential for me to like them. It was so written by a man was the big thing. It just was like so very male. And I just didn't like it. But I have faith that the rest of the series could be better, I could get engaged with it. So we're going Book Lovers as our first bad contender. Up next, we have The Number One Ladies Detective Agency and The Shadow of Perseus. The Number One Ladies Detective Agency I read recently. It's about a woman living in Zimbabwe, I think, who has this detective agency. The plot was not a plot. It just was so meandery. The Shadow of Perseus is a retelling of the myth of Perseus. I thought it was fine. I didn't really get hooked in at all. I have friends who adored that book, and I really just did not. But I think we're going with, as the worst one, Number One Ladies Detective Agency, because it really had no plot, and I really just did not enjoy reading it. Shadow of Perseus I didn't think was very good as a retelling, but it wasn't like a miserable reading experience. And then we have Dance Upon the Air by Nora Roberts versus The Pisces by Melissa Broder. And this one's pretty easy. I'm going to first tell you Dance Upon the Air is about this woman who escapes an abusive relationship and is restarting her life and meets this guy who's not much better. And then The Pisces is about this woman who's like a sex addict and her trials and tribulations of falling in love with a fish. It was really weird, but I didn't dislike The Pisces for most of it. I was just kind of like, this is weird, I'm along for the ride. And then I guess I didn't like the ending, or it just left a bad taste in my mouth at the end. But I didn't hate it for most of it, so I'm going, and I did hate Dance Upon the Air for the vast majority of it. So I'm going with Dance Upon the Air by Nora Roberts as the worst in this matchup. And then we have, this is an easy one, 5 Total Strangers versus Wish You Were Here by Jodi Picoult. 5 Total Strangers is a thriller that I really just thought was meh. Like, nothing happened that was thrilling. Wish You Were Here by Jodi Picoult is a book that made me actively mad. I hate that lady. I think she writes bad books. It's about COVID and this woman who goes on, she and her fiance, or not even fiance yet, he's gonna propose soon, boyfriend are gonna go on this trip to the Galapagos, and then right as they're about to leave, COVID hits, and he's works in a hospital, so he has to stay, but she decides to go, and she has this adventure while she's there. It was awful. I hated it so much. So, obviously, that is the winner of the worst one. And then we have In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware versus Perfect by L.A. Kessler. In a Dark, Dark Wood is about this bachelorette weekend in like the middle of the woods, where this woman doesn't know why she was invited because she had a falling out with the woman who's getting married. It just was really boring, and like the narrative was not very well structured, and the ending was like lame. I didn't like it. Perfect by L.A. Kessler is the weirdest book. It was like horribly, terribly written. It has a subtitle. It's Perfect, the thriller that will grab you by your DNA. By your DNA. That is the subtitle. It's not on the cover, but it is on the Goodreads title, or at least the title on Scribd where I listened to it. It was so silly, like so silly bad. And it's definitely worse than In a Dark, Dark Wood. I don't think it's gonna go very far in this bracket just because it was so bad I kind of enjoyed it. But it was worse technically than In a Dark, Dark Wood, and I don't want In a Dark, Dark Wood to go any further just because it was so boring. So Perfect is going to win that one. Ooh, this one's tough. We then have 9 Lives by Peter Swanson, which is a thriller that I just found there were icky lines that were problematic, and it just was boring, and I didn't like the resolution. It was thriller. Lots of thrillers on here. And Lore Olympus by Rachel Smythe, which is a graphic novel retelling of the gods of Mount Olympus. It's the Hades and Persephone story. I hated Lore Olympus. I thought that the way... And I know a lot of people love it, and it's a lot of people's thing. It just was not my thing at all. I'm not really into graphic novels, but also the art style was not bad. It's not bad art, but the tiny lady giant man was really emphasized, and I really didn't like that. And it just felt kind of icky to me. And I know a lot of people don't feel that way, and that's totally okay. Everyone has the right to like this book, but I just didn't. And 9 Lives, I think, actually got a lower rating. I think that was a 1.5, and Lore Olympus was a 2. But I remember more negative feelings about Lore Olympus. So I'm actually going to have that one win, just because I have more negative memories about it. And then we go to our second round. First up, the number 1 Ladies Detective Agency versus Book Lovers. I think we go the number 1 Ladies Detective Agency, because Book Lovers at least had a plot, and there were maybe things that were kind of interesting, maybe, I don't know. Number 1 Ladies Detective Agency just did not have any of those things. Dance Upon the Air versus Wish You Were Here. These are probably the bottom 2, I would say, but we're going Wish You Were Here because I was mad. I was No, I didn't. I was actively angry about that book. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. What is that? Copy. Paste. There we go. Dance Upon the Air was not good, but I would actually continue the series if it's beneficial for Squash That series. I would continue. I don't think it's necessarily as awful as Wish You Were Here was. I just didn't like it. And then we have Perfect versus Lore Olympus. Again, I don't think Perfect should get that far on this bracket just because it was so bad it was good fun. So I'm going Lore Olympus here. And then we have our top 3, and our winner is not even a contest. It's so obvious. I hated this book so much. I really thought it was awful. And I'm mad at the author forever. So there we go. That's my worst book of 2023. Here's my whole bracket. Jodi Picoult, not for me. Not for me. Bad book. Bad book. So, no offense if you liked any of these books. If people have different tastes, that's okay. If you liked Wish You Were Here, I might judge you a little, but it's okay. It's okay. You're allowed to like things. I'm glad that you like things. So that's our bracket. That's our time here together in this video. Comment down below what books you hated in the year of 2023, and if you've read any of these books. If you did like any of these books, please tell me down below. I would love to hear why you liked one of these books, because I did not. But yeah, that's what we've got today, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.